Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live reactive episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, JB Bickerstaff, to the Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons 2024 free agency preview. And it just ticked up because we got JB Bickerstaff, and I think that he alone is going to lure free agents, not the likes that of the Paul George ilk or anything, maybe, but I think he's going to bring some quality players to this team. So be on the lookout. But welcome to your hosts, Conrado Pascual. Ladies and gentlemen, how you feeling today, brother?
Excellent. Happy Sunday to all. We're less than 5 hours now. 5 hours from the official start of NBA free agency. So it's kind of cool, right? I mean, out here, in the West Coast, I wake up basically, was it like sometimes 7 a.m.?
Like 3 a.m.?
Well, no, 7 a.m. Pacific, only to get, right? Because I got a Woj notification that the Detroit Pistons have hired JB Bickerstaff to be the next head coach, which is, I mean, again, I explicitly said it. I think I tweeted out, like, I believe Trajan Landon already has, like a very detailed list of free agents that he intends to target. Yeah. But it is just kind of funny, like the optics of, okay, cool, right? Like 6 hours, 7 hours before free agency starts,
right?
We got our head coach, right?
Right.
No. I mean, like, you said it in previous episodes, right? Like, it's good to have, obviously, the coach in those free agency pitch meetings, right? For me, like, it's just, I think at least with Bickerstaff, and obviously he's going to have to sit down with the current players, and I'm sure those meetings will take place sooner than later, but at least now they can provide free agents with a clear idea of what they want this Pistons team to be. Because, it's kind of harder to do that without a coach.
Right.
You're like, well, we could maybe do this, but now you actually have the coach there saying, like, no, right? Like, this is the role I envision you fulfilling. This is the type of style that we want to play. So, I mean, and obviously, given that he has a large body of work as a head coach, right? Both with Cleveland, Houston, right? Wasn't he also with Memphis at one point? Right, I think he was.
I forget. Probably alongside Fizdale or something like that. Yeah.
Point being, right, is, I mean, like, he's no rookie,
right?
Head coach,
right.
So, I mean, I think I personally like the hire, but I guess we can go a little bit more in depth as to our thoughts. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, do you like it? I mean,
yeah, I like it. I wanted Sam Cassell, but I'll take JB over. I wanted somebody that kind of had their feet wet. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to expect from Borrego because the same way people are trying to tear down Bickerstaff, like, oh yeah, but in like the last few tweets I seen before we fired this up was, oh, but yeah, he did fine in Cleveland, but not in the playoffs. And it's like, well, what about who's on that playoff team? What about the fact that they were hurt the majority of the year? What about the fact that he had two different combo units and they're all smashed together on one team, where you can trade a guard and a big and have a complementary of players that actually fit with Donovan Mitchell and a Evan Mobley, because we know basically they need to get rid of Jared Allen and Darius Garland. So sometimes it's not necessarily what the coach is doing, it's what the organization hasn't provided with the ability to do so, because teams wanted Jared Allen, they want Darius Garland, they have value, so you can flip them. You know what I mean? And it's just getting back to the main point. Like, I'm fine with the hire. I'm interested in what his assistant coaches will look like, though. I am interested in that, because that's going to be a big deal. We already do have Fred Vinson, so we have a shooting coach, but do we have a coach that will, like, maybe we need another offensive coach just to bounce some things off of him, because everybody talks about his offense. And he doesn't have Donovan Mitchell this time. So, I mean, we do have Ivy, unless they decide to try to trade him or something like that. You know what I mean? But we do have Ivy, and then
you have Cade. You have Cade. Okay.
Yeah, we have Cade, but Cade isn't as quick or dynamic as
okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not like a high flyer, if for lack of a better term, because I can't think of something else to label on Donnie. But and then, do we need a defensive coach? You know what I mean? Do we need a big man coach? So I'm interested in seeing what JB Bickerstaff does with his coaching staff. So, but I like the hire. I like it. You know what I mean? It's not JJ Redick or something coming from doing from playing, respectfully.
Yeah.
So, but just doing a podcast, breaking down X's and O's, and then we're just like, we'll give him a shot. Like, it seems like Trajan came in with a clear view. The candidates that he came up with were actual coaches. You know what I mean? So here we are.
Yeah. I mean, during the regular season, just for all teams, I like to go just kind of scroll through highlights on Twitter, and then I'll break down certain plays that kind of stand out. I say that, or I bring that up because I broke down a lot of Cleveland Cavaliers plays.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is Bickerstaff, he draws up some of the most creative plays.
Yeah.
I think, in terms of offensive creativity or versatility, I think he possesses that. I mean, especially I like it at the beginning of games. He usually does have a drawn up play for them to go to, right? To kind of get them going, get their rhythm, kind of get them into an early groove.
Yeah.
And I mean, his use of all kinds of different action, right? Whether it's boomerang action or UCLA or Texas A&M, it's pretty cool. And they execute, the Cavs execute them so well. So to me, that's an indication that not only does he know how to drop a play, but clearly he can communicate them well, right? The players are understanding this. And obviously, right, the more veteran a player is, maybe the higher level of understanding.
Right.
But if I were to look at this as optimistically as possible, that is definitely one of the strengths I think he has. If I understand the criticism, among some of the criticism from Cavs fans, is maybe either not making the correct adjustments or being too slow to make the correct in-game adjustments, I should say. I find a lot of coaches are like that, right? I remember when Kevin McHale was coach of the Rockets, that to me is how I'd assess him. It's not that he's incompetent, it's just that came in with a great game plan, and then the in-game adjustments, just maybe a little too slow, or maybe just kind of too stubborn to move away from, so that is where I definitely agree with you. I think it would be great to see who his coaching staff is, because I agree, right? There should be people to not just be yes men, but to kind of offer different ideas, maybe something he's not seeing, or just different alternatives, right? To keep defenses guessing. So
I agree.
Yeah.
So, okay. So in the free agency vision, because I'm all over the place with the free agency aspect of it.
Let's just go through. Let's go through some, which ones do you think fit? Which one? Well, maybe we'll discuss which ones are realistic or not, but
we got THJ. I'll let you go first, because I don't have the hugest list, because I have to.
Okay.
While you go through yours, I'll get the Detroit depression off of me. You know what I mean? Because we usually aren't anticipating the ability to sign free agents.
And that is why.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to just be like most of those. I don't know, well, fine. Either casual fans.
Yeah.
Or smarmy fans that oh, okay, it's Detroit. Nah,
poverty
dude,
franchise.
You're one of 30 NBA franchises. Sure, okay, right? Would a player currently rather go to, I don't know, if all the money was equal, would they rather go to the Lakers or the Knicks instead of Detroit? Yeah, sure. They'd probably go to the other teams, right? I'm just talking about
going
because
to the Lakers.
Well, I'm just saying like because of like
they
seem more competitive, right? I'm not even saying about location.
Okay. I was thinking about money off top. Go to the
No,
Lakers.
I'm saying I've said if the money was equal, I could understand that, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of the more highly sought after, if not like the higher tier of free agents, I have like this shtick on Twitter where like if a free agent is considering going back to one of their former teams, I will pretend to Photoshop the player. You've seen it, right?
But
all I do is right. All I do is I just find old images or old clips of them when they were on that team. Right. So I mean, I know a lot of fans like laugh, but I do think some former Pistons would be great fits on this current Pistons team. And I know you're saying it's a rebuilding team, but think of where they are, where they're trying to get to, and what they need in order to get there. So the one name, I don't think you guys have much of a shot, but the one is Kentavius Caldwell-Pope. Kentavius Caldwell-Pope.
Yeah, I love Caldwell-Pope.
In terms of the more like highly sought after, like he's going to get money. Yeah. Right. He's looking for like he's looking for a multi-year deal, paying him roughly $25 million per year.
Okay.
Right. Now, Denver, they have his full bird rights, right? Meaning they can't exceed their cap, but they're trying to remain below, I believe, like the second apron. Yeah. Right. To maintain the flexibility and not have any of their first round picks frozen. This new CBA. Crazy. Yeah. Right. So in order to do that, in order to kind of start creating some room, they essentially salary dumped former Piston Reggie Jackson. They salary dumped him to Charlotte. Right. In order to do that, they had to attach 3 second-round picks to him. Like that's the cost to just eat up his money.
Dump,
right. Having said that, there's still no guarantee that the Nuggets will be able to retain KCP.
Right. Especially if somebody pays him. Somebody
exactly.
I mean, but I don't know that there's a contending team that he would be attracted to going to. You know what I mean?
Well, there is Orlando, right? And you know they are like desperate for 3-point shooting, and I mean you get the best of both worlds, right? You would say he's arguably one of the best 3-and-D players in the league. KCP, like just 3-and-D, like
especially doing if he came here, he would be the guy. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Right. But Orlando is rumored to be, pretty hot on his trail, vying for his services. Philly seems like a legitimate suitor. However, I'm not sure if they could get him and Paul George. Seems like Paul George is still their main target. So, what I'm saying is, I don't know. I don't know how he feels about Detroit, but I mean, it's not just a joke. The idea of him coming back where it all started.
Yeah.
Right.
With the championship.
2.
2. Oh, yeah, that's right. Lakers. Duh.
Yeah. But I mean, like when you guys moved on from him, there were definitive holes in his game.
Yeah.
And also at the time, you still have that, you still have like the stigma of being an early lottery pick. Like he's past the point where people are viewing him because at the time when he left Detroit, it's like, you're not good enough to be a franchise player. Well, no shit. He's not.
Right.
And he's clearly accepted that, embraced it, but he's like become the best version of himself in this role. Right. He'd be coming back to Detroit with people, with fans, with coaches, staff, knowing that we're not trying to build a team around you.
Yeah.
We're trying to bring you in to elevate the entire team. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to be that piece that really connects all these lineups. We may have just wasted like 5-6 minutes here talking about a guy who has no desire to come back, but he is someone I think the Pistons should pursue. I think it's worthwhile. It is a worthwhile pursuit, in my opinion.
People, well, I won't veer off that quick.
No.
I was just gonna veer off. Like people talk shit about Detroit, like, oh, who wants to go stay in Detroit? Like, y'all come here and come look at some of the areas like where Stan Van Gundy stayed and and other players stayed at, like, you'll come to Michigan, bro. You might not want to deal with the cold in the winter, but I mean, whatever, bro. Like, it's nice. And downtown is different than it was 10, 15 years ago. Downtown is no longer, it's midnight, you need to be at home or you're going to get robbed. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, damn, the state police are right there. Like, that's what it's like now. So, I mean, things can still happen, but people just need to stop bringing that up. And they're usually people that are outside of Detroit. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
with him, getting back on topic, with him already having been here, with us having a unit in place, you know what I mean? Like, we do have Cade, we got Ivy, we got Asar, we got Duran. I'm not sure who stays, who leaves. I've been dealing with the like early coping of we're gonna lose somebody. And if it's just the better the team, then it's the better the team. But I wouldn't actually mind bringing him in because the main ingredient that we need is defense on this team. You know what I mean? Because I can't say Ivy's the greatest defender. People talk shit about what he was doing last summer, getting his ass bust on different pro-am courts and just pickup games. And then they think that that's why Monty had put him in the doghouse. At least that was my belief too. Like, damn, did Monty see that summertime shit while he was over there with Cade? He's still seeing it. So I think we need to grab as many defenders as we can. And I did see somebody mention some really. I don't know why that just came on randomly. I got a free agency list pulled up in the damn commercial play, but yeah, KCP. And then I'll move on to another free agent, but I just want to. You got any last words on KCP? Because I would just say I would love to see him back in Detroit.
I mean, I think Denver will have a problem. It really depends what KCP, like, what he's looking for. Like, is he looking for just like the most guaranteed money, period? Like, could it be like a lower AAV, but over like 3 years or 4 years? Yeah. But then would Denver even want that, right? Can they afford to lock in that much long-term commitment when they just extended Jamal Murray, right? 4 years, 200+ million, I think 205 or something like that. Yeah. It might not be tenable, and not to just make this a complete Pistons alumni tour, but right. I'm comparing what Bruce Brown did, right? When he left Denver, right? He signed a high AAV contract with the Pacers, but for only 2 years. Mm-hmm. It's great for both sides. He gets what he wants. He can hop back into the market again, try to cash in one more time. And then it doesn't lock up any long-term financial or cap flexibility. Right, for the Pacers at that time, and now the Raptors. But the Raptors have that same, What I'm saying is, if that's something KCP's open to, then hell yeah, a team like Detroit, right? Yeah. There isn't a single lineup that he wouldn't make sense in. Like, if you're collecting like any of your highly drafted players, right? Yeah. Cade, Ivy, Asar, right? Except for Ron, right? Like, who would he not compliment well? So, I mean, again, he might get the bag from actual contending teams, so this might all be moot. It's just, I think the Pistons, if you want to kind of start getting back to that level of being taken seriously, then take yourself seriously. Right? Explore. Yeah. I'm not saying that Langdon isn't, but right. I think these are the types of free agents you should at least be having discussions with, if they're open to it. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll segue straight to this then. We're going to keep I'm not going Tobias Harris with this reunion tour. You can talk Tobias all you want because Tobias. Or let me change my tone. I didn't hate him, but I didn't like what I had seen from him all the way back in Orlando. People that were here, that live here, oh, we should try to get Tobias Harris. And then we went and damn got him, right? So I'll leave him wherever. If people want him, they want him. If he fits off the bench, that's fine. That's my whole thing with him. I don't really want him to start. And people are like, well, he's starting caliber. And it's just like, I don't want Tobias Harris. We'll start him in our SARS place or – you know what I mean? Now, if they're trying to run Wiseman Duran, then okay, sure, whatever. You know what I mean? But he needs to be third option fourth option scoring at best, where he doesn't have to have so much responsibility lunged onto him. And that's all I'm gonna say about Tobias Harris. Like, I don't want to go in about him because I'm gonna end up sounding like a hater or somebody who was just rubbed the wrong way with his inconsistencies. He scored 22 today and 7 tomorrow. Like, I got tired of that.
Yes, I will just simply say I agree with you. Yeah. I think this is a reunion that does not need to take place. However, the irony is, you know how much I have slandered Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
And when we do a Warriors free agency, like either preview or update,
yeah,
I don't know, man. Some cap people smarter than me may have convinced me he might actually be a viable option for the Warriors. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
I mean, the Warriors are a different team, though. So
yeah, I know.
But we'll leave that for the end because I can go in about that. But on the reunion tour next up, Andre Drummond. Now, if you just said take yourself seriously, would that be considered taking ourselves seriously if we got Drummond back?
I think so. Okay. I think so.
Okay.
What's even more impressive? Well, for a number of reasons. Mm-hmm. It seems like I'm not really sure. It's weird what his value is on the open market, because it seemed like after his first year in Chicago, so he signed a 2-year deal originally with Chicago with a player option in year 2. Right. And he signed for the minimum.
Right.
And he had a great first year in Chicago.
Right.
It seemed like he could have gone back onto the open market and gotten a better contract. Not like a max deal, but like,
like at least 10, 15 million.
Yeah, like mid-level exception.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He ended up just picking up the player option, right, on his second year last year. So now he is a free agent again. And there are several teams in need of front court depth. And it's reported he's going to be highly sought after. Now, what does that mean? Like, highly sought after because he's still taking the minimum, or
highly sought after because he can give your big man a break for real.
Exactly, right? Like, is it more because there's value because he's coming on the cheap, or because I saw a report saying that he is open to returning to the Pistons?
Oh, yeah, like he is. He's been like,
now what does that mean?
The whole Instagram thing and everything. So
right, what does that mean? Are you willing to come back? Like, is the money all equal? Or are you only interested because Detroit can pay you more? Now, either way, you're not going to break the bank for him. Even paying him like $5 to $8 million is still a value contract, right? So I don't have any problem, right? I mean, like Langdon, his history, his body of work doesn't suggest he's just going to give like some crazy bloated contract to a backup, Right. Yeah. But what I'm saying is if he was still willing to come back to Detroit on the minimum, then yes, I think that makes even Detroit as a destination look even better. Not that he is right, but he's at the point of the career where he's looked at as, guy on the rise, right, on his rookie deal, then the overpaid, overrated guy, now the savvy veteran, right, that's well respected around the league,
right,
because he's persevered through being waived and all that stuff. And now, so what I'm saying is those are the types of signings that is a good indication, around the league, but also again to other free agents, like, hey, right, like, look at this, right? These guys have been around. They've seen a lot of things, and they still want to come back to Detroit. Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. Because again, I don't really, we've had these conversations before. I love Duren, right? We love Duren.
Yeah.
We love Stewart.
Right.
They don't. There's no redundancy between them. They're not the same play at all. You know. So I mean, like,
is Drummond if you clump him in with them.
Exactly. That was my point. Yeah. Like, I don't find any positional or like stylistic redundancy between them. So, I mean, you need a backup. I would trust him more than, no offense, James Wiseman. Right?
Oh hell yeah! What?
Right? No, that's what I would trust Drummond more, right? And you already saw, right? They did not tender Wiseman a qualifying offer, so he will be an unrestricted free agent. That's not to say he can't come back, but it doesn't look like.
I mean, I'll take his 10 rebounds in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Easily. Especially on second chance opportunities. We got Fred Vincent. He's supposed to come in and, up our shooting even better, even more. Who knows? Drummond might have a secret little pick and pop all of a sudden. You never know. Like, having Fred Vincent has changed my whole perspective on what we should target in free agency anyway. And then our players were already improving and shooting last year. So at least I want to say, like, after the break, if I want to think I seen like a first half, second half breakdown. So after the first 41 games, we improved. So to have coaches that are going to come in and hone on different talents, specifically shooting where the league is going, whatever. I think that he'll be, just his rebounds alone will be good enough. But if he can add a little jump hook or like a little, like 10-footer, maybe 12 feet, just to provide some kind of space outside of that. Yeah. Like, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? And just him, what he is now, I'm all for it.
Again, we're talking about Drummond at, like, how old is he now? 30 something.
I want to say 31 at the most. If that, I was actually sitting up here thinking about it, because I was thinking about when
I'm just saying, like,
he was 19
again,
then, so I think about 30, 31.
Again, the perception's different. You're not the guy, you're not the rookie, right, drafted from the 2012 draft class anymore, right? You're not like this guy that's looked at as, can you be a franchise star? You're now looked at as, can you be a piece to get this thing moving in the right direction again?
Right.
Perception's a big thing. And that he could do that.
Yeah.
So again, like, the money is going to be commensurate to what his contributions are. Like I said, you're not doing heavy lifting anymore. So I mean, I don't see how it could be a bad thing, right? I mean, like, there's no way you're giving him more than like 15 million a year, right?
You never know. He might end up having to do some heavy lifting, but that's his role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Joel Embiid went down. Here comes Drummond. Anthony Davis doesn't want to play center. Here comes Drummond. You know what I mean? So he has the ability to do so. Like, if Jalen Duren went down, who you starting? Wiseman or Drummond? I'm starting Drummond every time.
I'm going small with beef stew, man.
Oh, I love beef stew. Yeah, we better not trade beef stew, please. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So
he's gonna be a combo 3-4.
In terms of the free agents that are expected to make some substantial money, you know. So I mean, again, let's just stay on the Pistons reunions. What about my guy Saddiq Bey?
I feel like we should have never got rid of him, but I know when Cade first got here, you could kind of tell that he was kind of like trying to show and prove who he was. You know what I mean? Early on in the season, like, he didn't want to give Cade the ball in open moments, or let Cade kind of always facilitate if he had his ball on the hands, like his hand on the ball, his ball on the hands. What? Am I not woke? But I just feel like now, especially coming off that injury, he's going to go to a team where he can kind of plug and play. I don't think he'll come here because we have too much youth. I would love him here, but we have too much youth in his spot, specifically him coming back from injury. Who knows who else we get out of free agency? We already just picked up THJ. We have Ausar Thompson. You know what I mean? And I mean, hell, we got Fontecchio too, who will operate in that same type of spot on different plays, unless we just decide to play 5 out, 4 out. You know what I mean? So I think he goes to a team like the Lakers or the Nuggets, or he's going to try to go to a legit contender. You know what I mean? And I honestly, I would love him back in Detroit. I wouldn't mind. I don't know what minutes he gets, but he would be another one of those that I think if he came along, he might stunt the growth of somebody else's. Like,
that's
minutes,
a good point.
You know what I mean? Because he's still young. You know what I mean? So he still needs time too. He's still potentially adding different layers to his game. So do I want to start him or do I want to start Ausar? If we decide to be a shooting team, then I mean, yeah, Saddiq. But if we're gonna let Ausar continue to develop and he's already a beast on D, then I'm not taking Ausar out of that starting lineup. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's more of what are we going to do going forward? What is JB Bickerstaff's vision for this team? And like I said, if that's shooting, then Saddiq Bey, cool. If not, you want to develop Ausar. I mean, he just got done coaching Issac Okoro. You know what I mean? And that's basically Ausar right now. So, no, I mean, seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we got Fred mentioned, but yeah. So his shooting will probably shoot up quicker, but
I know.
Yeah, the
Fred Vinson's really going to earn. He's really going to earn his money this year.
He should have damn near been the coach, because it's like after I heard about the move and like really paid attention to his resume, he's damn near the reason why I'm just. It changed everything for me. You know what I mean? I didn't know he had drastically improved the Pelican the Pelicans like players' shots that drastically. You know what I mean? So that changes everything. The results speak for themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
You got any more? We got any more on tour? Is Reggie Jackson going to become available?
I mean, even if he does, I think you're good.
we got another. It's crazy how they're all almost available. Like if Reggie Jackson got bought out or waived, I would really say bought out. I doubt waived. That's not the right time. But Luke Kennard is unrestricted.
Correct.
So
correct.
It's like we're doing a Detroit tour.
I mean, me personally, I would pass.
Would you?
I would.
2. I mean, we didn't play Joe Harris. I mean, maybe. Well, I don't know, because he's earned his keep now too. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely no worse than second unit. You know what I mean? He might arguably be like a 7th player at this point. You know what I mean? Unless you have a team that's just got dogs on defense, or he signed with somebody like Miami that just needs shooters. But I mean, they need more.
Okay, too. There you go. Then let's now finally deviate away from the Pistons alums.
Okay.
Since you brought up Miami, would you rather have Luke Kennard or Caleb Martin?
What about neither?
Okay, that's the answer. That's fine. That's fine.
I mean,
that's fine. I'm just saying, like, I understand what Luke Kennard does well, and he does it very, very well. And he'd be like,
he does.
But like, I think
we need defense.
I think, yeah, right. Like, you can't have just one way. Like, I don't want to spend the amount of money he's going to get, because he's going to get way more than the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. The non-taxpayer mid-level exception is around, let's just round it out. Like it's about 9. 13 million.
Oh,
it's now about 13. 9. Yeah. Right. It's about 13. Malik Monk got about 19.5 AAV as on his extension. Yeah. So is Kennard getting something somewhere in between the middle? And if he is, I want to pay him that much?
Right.
Like, like I don't know. I understand that you can say fine, right? Let's have a 3-point shootout. Who's better, Luke Kennard or Caleb Martin? But in terms of who does more, like, I don't know. I guess I lean towards, if you were to say pick one of the two to sign, like you have to sign one of them. Me personally, I would go with Caleb Martin. I need that versatility.
I go Caleb, because he's not a one-trick pony. You know what I mean?
Right.
So. And we need a little bit more than one. We need more than one dimension, not a little bit more. We need more than one dimension, trying to put this team back on the right road. So, I'd pass on Luke, unless we just didn't have nothing else. Like all the other free agents went wherever they went, and we didn't.
Well, then, real quickly on the topic of veteran shooters, what about? Let's just clump them together: Gary Trent Jr. or Buddy Hield. Because I know you've spoken fondly, at least of Buddy in the past. Buddy Hield.
That's why I just
Buddy Hield, not Buddy Boeheim, who just recently got waived. Okay.
I would go Buddy Hield.
Or would you even want one or the other? Like, would you actually want to pursue? If you were like Trajan Landon's assistant GM, would you actually say, hey, we should pursue one of these guys? Or would you, like you said earlier, just neither?
okay, if I get realistic, Buddy Hield's going to command some type of money. If he's looking for money right now, he's not looking to compete for a championship. He's going to go for the money right now. You know what I mean? Or if he thinks that, oh, I can get paid and help elevate a team, he's going to try to get paid. You know what I mean? And Philly would be his best option because they should have his bird rights, right? I believe. Yeah, they should have his bird rights. So, I also think that, he would take too much of our cap. And he would want years. So I wouldn't mind him being here, but I would probably pass. Unless we could get off Wiseman's contract. We could get off Wiseman or get off another contract that's somewhere like in the
Wiseman,
10 million range.
Wiseman's a free agent.
Oh,
Wiseman's gone.
He's not
He's
restricted?
unrestricted.
Oh,
he's unrestricted.
Okay.
They did not tender him a qualifying offer. Yeah.
Okay.
Which again becomes more of the indictment, like, oh, the Warriors drafted a bust, blah 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 blah. So,
I mean, he should have played another year at Memphis. But
that COVID season messed up everything. Yeah,
it did. And then his injury too, it set him back.
Yes.
But
yeah.
You said Gary Trent. Now, okay, when it comes to Gary Trent, if you needed him to get a big time stop, could you depend on him to get you a big time stop? Is my question to you. Just one.
Personally, I would have to say no. I'd have to say no.
So I'm gonna say no because I feel the same way. Like I'm looking for more production on the defensive end. You know what I mean? And that wouldn't speak to the stat sheet. So you know what I mean? Like he can go somewhere else. Like we'll get the shooters is one way or another. And we need defense. Like we need more defense because a lot of that, a lot of our team is actually kind of transition. When we get out and run, like we are actually a better team. And that's why, not to go off topic slightly, but that's why I've long kind of thought to myself, like, well, what if we can get Cade off of the ball? You know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering if JB comes in and he puts the ball in Ivy's hands, like just so we can have some more kind of movement to kind of let other things get going.
Tempo.
Yeah, tempo is everything right now in this league. Yes, we do need Cade, and Cade is great. I'm not knocking Cade for nothing. He's the playoff executioner because that's how he plays. You know what I mean? He plays like a playoff executioner where we can dissect, let the players just dissect the team's defenses. But we need pace over the course of the season. And when Cade went down, we got to see what we got to see the year before. Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, team in transition, team, you know what I mean? Moving faster, pace higher, even though a lot of people said it was the same pace, but it just looks different. It's going about in a different way. And I think we need to harness the ability to control both abilities all on the same team. You know what I mean? It's also good if you have different dynamics on your team anyway, because if you get to the play-in or playoffs and somebody can just say, okay, well, this is what they do, and that's all that you do, you're going to lose. So we need to have different dynamics going into that type of situation. I know that's far off, but you know what I mean? Shouldn't be really talking playoffs with a 14-win team. So let me stop right there. We switch them numbers to 40 and we'll talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's where Trajan Landon makes his money, right? You do still have to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but you do see the bigger picture. Yeah. I mean, those are like I bring all those guys up because obviously I think shooting. I mean, all teams need shooting.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a priority for Detroit. Those guys seem to be projected to be in the same price range, which is why I brought them up. All three of them, Luke, Caleb, actually all four of them, Luke, Caleb Martin, Gary Trent, Buddy Hield. They all seem to be kind of priced.
Which is what? Like 20 mil or something like that, 15?
Basically more than the non-taxpayer mid-level exception.
Yeah.
But less than a max. So,
that might not be
somewhere like in the
Buddy Hield is there, then I'd sign Buddy Hield.
Yeah. But do you have anyone, or I'll just kind of
got another one? Malik Beasely.
Let's hear it.
Malik Beasely.
Okay, see now again, right? These options look better because like certain options will look better because their price range, right?
Yeah.
Is more palatable. I think Beasely is like at I think at best he's like a mid-level exception guy. So I think his high end is the full taxpayer or the non-taxpayer MLE, 13 mil, and then his probably median range is somewhere in the taxpayer mid-level exception, right? So what is that, like 8 million, 7 million, 8 million, right? Yeah. So great shooting, no defense. Let's just make it easy. Right?
Yeah.
If he was exactly what the Bucks wanted him to be, he'd still be a Buck. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
So I mean, no, I again, can you work with that? Because again, if that is his price range, right, then that's what coaches and GMs have to look at. It's like, well, okay, wait a minute, right? We can get him in at that deal. That means I can still strengthen these other areas. You could maybe work with that. Yeah. I'm not against it. She probably wouldn't be my first choice,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, the problem is, I like Malik Beasely, right? I like, okay, there goes Conrad again. He likes all these players. No, right? Like, I think I like, like his pull-up game and everything like that. Obviously, right? He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league last year,
40%.
At least by percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But even if I try to manipulate all the stats, like I was trying to like look at different like defensive efficiency scenarios. No, he's like bad in every like potential defensive metric.
Damn.
So I'm like, oh crap, man.
Okay.
So probably not my best, but you see, if you were willing to go with an offense only burst, then again, see, now we're really talking about either somewhere between minimum or the taxpayer MLE. What about Seth Curry?
That was my next
oh shoot, ask. Okay, yeah, see?
That was my next ask. Like, he's literally right here. I mean, I'm not saying no to Seth Curry. He's arguably, when he wants to be, the situation is right, he's one of the best 3-point. He can be top 5, top 10 in 3-point shooting in the league. He's going to open up the floor. He's going to always keep the defense honest, at least on him. And I mean, what more could you ask for? Like, yeah, you could plug him in here and there. If there was a player that has the shooting acumen but doesn't necessarily show up on the other end of the floor, out of all of the ones that we named, the one I would not have a problem with being like that is Seth Curry. Easily.
I mean, again, sometimes combo guard, the term combo guard can become pejorative.
Yeah.
It's kind of changed in different eras. Like in the 90s, it was a cool thing. In the early 2000s, like that means like you're a tweener and you can't do anything well.
Right. Yeah.
Then like in the 2010s, kind of became cool again, kind of became in vogue. All I'm saying is
big roles and yeah.
Right. You could even say Steph is a combo guard.
Yeah.
I mean,
Steph.
Okay, great. You're one of the best players ever.
Right.
So I guess all I'm trying to say though is, I mean, he does have significant experience as being a primary ball handler, right? Like he does have point guard skills, Seth, that is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's coming in at somewhere between the minimum or the mid level, because basically I think he was due like 8 or 9 million, had Charlotte picked up their team option.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like he can still get that on the open market, but I mean, for a team that can afford him easily, not only does he fit overall, but yeah, I think, like you said, he's not just a one-trick pony, right? Like it's not like all he does is run to the corner, and wait for a catch and shoot opportunity.
Right.
Like he,
this
so I mean,
young Seth Curry. This is,
yeah.
He's been in a few different situations, and I let me not get off my Pistons. Let's just keep it Pistons before you turn me.
No, I mean, I think.
No.
Yeah. When we eventually do preview, like I said, some Warriors options, some of the names that we've already listed today, I think some of them are kind of on my short list.
Yeah.
Of targets, but who else you got? Because actually, there's one name that I think, yeah, I'll save it. There's like one name that I think like they have to get, like the Pistons. That is
okay. So I'm gonna say my next one, and then we're gonna go there.
okay.
And I'm looking at this as like a veteran. You know what I mean? Since we want to bring in vets, they're gonna pass down the game to the kids. What about Eric Gordon? Shooter, decent defender, enough of a defender anyway. You know what I mean? What do you think about Eric Gordon?
Are you realistically giving him more than the minimum, which is what he made last year with Phoenix?
No.
I just don't see him coming. Like, I think he's ring chasing now. You know, like he's been ring chasing.
Okay.
So
I get another one then.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead and break him down. But yeah.
Oh no. I think again, I agree. I think sometimes, I see some people's reactions. Like, for example, I saw a lot of negative reaction to Denver bringing back DeAndre Jordan. You know, he's old, right? If he's just there to be a veteran, like voice, why don't they just make him a coach? Oh, he's just like their version of Udonis Haslem.
Sometimes you need that.
I understand that, but there is, it's. I remember Elton Brand said it too, right? In his final year as a player, and then he immediately transitioned to like a front office, like like scout or with the Sixers. He was just saying that like it's easy for fans to say that, but there's just a lot of work behind the scenes, like preparation work, and even in game that you can't provide as a coach, that you can provide as a player. And first of all, DeAndre still has some. I'm not the biggest DeAndre Jordan fan, even in his prime, but he still has some game left in him. He still has utility, and he's on the minimum.
Right.
Like, is it really that?
He's an insurance policy. I mean,
exactly.
End of the day.
And again, trust is important.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, I think Eric Gordon would be that guy.
But he won't come to the Pistons.
I just don't see it. Yeah.
He's okay. I mean, I can understand that. Okay, I have another one, and this one is something I seen tweeted. Just off the top of my head, they said just because of I don't know if JB Bickerstaff and Jonathan Isaac had a prior relationship. I forgot what I read, but they were just saying Jonathan Isaac. Wait, was it Jonathan Isaac or was it Okoro? Nope, I'm wrong. It was Okoro. Isaac Okoro. It was Okoro because he coached him last year. I mean, it's kind of left field to say go ahead and bring Okoro in because we have Ausar Thompson. But if you had the opportunity with this team, would you like try to bring? And he's restricted though, but we have money, so just as a wild card, just somebody to throw out there. Would you try to? If let's say our free agency goes all the way left, we don't get anybody that we really wanted. No, the whole nobody wants to come to Detroit shit comes true. Do we go with Isaac? Do we reach out to Isaac? I mean, Okoro. I keep saying Isaac. Why am I thinking about Jonathan Isaac? Damn it.
It's like that game, right? Can you connect players, right? So like Jonathan Isaac Okoro, you know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah. I'm just fumbling.
I like okay, there you go. There goes Conrad again. Yes, I like Isaac Okoro, the player. I like his theoretical fit with the Pistons. It goes back to what we were saying. Is there redundancy? Like whatever you believe, what do we believe his ideal role would be with the Pistons? Let's answer that. And then once we answer that, would that then be redundant with what some of the other current players on the roster are providing? Or would it, like you said, would it stifle their improvement? So if he's coming in and his positional counterparts are what, like Ausar, maybe Ron Holland, like is he basically going to be, like stymieing their growth, their development? Then, that's where you have to kind of risk or weigh the risk reward of bringing him in. Because like you said, he's coming in probably on substantial money. Like I think Patrick Williams, I I kind of compare Okoro and Patrick Williams together.
Yeah.
And Patrick Williams, right, agreed to an extension with the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
I think paying him like $18 million a year, right? 4 years, 18 per. It's like roughly 472 or something like that.
Yeah.
That is kind of what I would think Okoro is a good range. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. There is, but then, right, you are financially invested.
Yeah.
Right. So again, like, what is the risk reward of bringing him in? Like, does that actually help the team?
Nah.
I mean, it might help him in the short term.
That way, not looking at it that way, it doesn't help at all. I mean, the contract might be movable, but it doesn't help unless, and then it's unfair to pay somebody that much. And I was gonna ask you, do you see him being able to fulfill the role of a 6th or 7th man? Because he didn't start all the games. You know what I mean? He went from getting starters minutes years ago to slowly falling out of the primary like the starting rotation. So would he be willing to come here and come off the bench? Because I'd take we got an All-Star in now, and then right off the bench, Okoro comes and spells for him. You know what I mean? It's just like that way we have that on the floor at all times. We have a defensive presence on the wing, arguably the most important position, unless you're playing in B, Jokic, or Giannis. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I think that is where now having JB Bickerstaff on hand is important.
Right.
In any of these potential signings, because, you know, if I don't know, if I'm Okoro, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like right now, this very second, right? June 30th.
He's gone.
No, like I'm just saying June 30th, 2024, I am a better player than Ausar Thompson.
Right.
I'm a better player than Ron Holland. So why am I
not starting?
Why are they starting over me? Right? So that's what I'm saying. You would need a coach. You would need someone like JB Bickerstaff to really explain the vision. You know, I think back actually before we were starting to record, I just remember like it was a trade, not a free agent signing, but I just remember, you know, AI's grievance, you know, with the Pistons when all was said and done. You know, he just simply says, now that, you know, time has passed, what he was sold on is not what ended up happening, right? Like the idea of what he and like Rip Hamilton were supposed to be, like he was even saying like Rip, they were both disappointed or very disgruntled. That's what I'm saying, right? Like if you can actually clearly express to these players what their role would be, you know, like what their usage would be, then okay, right? Because like I said, right now, because the thing about free agency is sometimes I like to tell people all the time, like, you know, draft picks are an asset, right? Players are an asset. Cap space, right, is an asset, you know. But I mean, cap space isn't just to like create, you know, to get players you want. Sometimes, especially on the back end of a roster, you want to use your cap space to create value contracts. So like, you know, kind of like when the first wave of free agency goes by, like, especially if you're a team like Detroit, you know, you're like, you know, these teams aren't like, or like these teams are now getting capped out. This guy is still available. You know, I can give him a contract. Other people can't. Like they can only give him minimum. I'm going to give him like $5 million. It's still a value contract at $5 million. And even if he doesn't have like a long-term future with the team, you're like, dude, at the deadline, right? Because there's a cap on how much money you can spend, right, in transactions. You see, you get what I'm saying? Like, I can't spend $5 million in trade, but I can spend $5 million on this player. I can flip him, and now I have picks. Right? I can flip them for picks in the future. That's what I'm saying, right? Like there are players I think that can become value contract. You can create an asset through remaining cap space. That is something I think, you know, I think should be kind of not exciting, but it's an avenue that teams like the Pistons have that others don't, you know, because they're
it's like signing them and then calling OKC like, you only that piece away, right, from from
Right.
making a real playoff push. So go ahead and send us some of. Oh, what team pick is that? Oh, send us their picks. Send us both of them. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it is. It's definitely an asset. I'm just looking down this list and I don't see anything else worth having. I know some people have mentioned Chris Dunn and Xavier
in general
here. Kessler.
Well, actually, there's one before we get to mine. There is one that you brought up before we started recording. What Jalen Smith?
Oh,
talk to the fans about Jalen Smith. What do you think?
I mean, he's better than Wiseman. That's for damn sure.
Okay. We're not trying to slander Wiseman.
No, we're not.
And that should not be like the minimum criteria.
Jalen Smith. Oh, he's better than James Wiseman. Well, I mean, I'd bring him in. He's young. You know what I mean? He's still young. So there's still some upside to him. There's still something that we might be able to do with him. He might actually turn into the next Miles Turner. You know what I mean? Because he has pieces of that already a part of his game where he's at now. So I think that he's going to be a quiet acquisition for whoever gets him, to be honest. Like, I don't know. What? I see you nodding.
No.
What's your thoughts?
It's just Jalen Smith to me. And again, I love what the Pacers are doing. And when they traded for him, they got him for like basically nothing.
Nothing.
You know? What did they get him for?
And then he started going crazy for a while.
Right.
He was going crazy.
Like Phoenix sold low. But like the thing about Jalen Smith, and I think he may have had like a little like injuries, like to start his rookie year with Phoenix.
Yeah.
People forget he was drafted by Phoenix, started his career there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like he ever did anything like wrong.
Right.
I don't even think like there are definitely areas of his game he needs to improve upon. Probably defense mainly.
Yeah.
Like I think he has shown the ability to compete on the defensive end, but he's really inconsistent. Sometimes kind of lacks like positional awareness, like where he should be rotating, stuff like that kind of overhelps. And he's probably not like a true rim protector,
Right.
But in terms of what he does bring, like, I feel like he's always just kind of been the odd man out in a logjam, right?
Yeah.
The Pistons, he was out. Obviously, they had DeAndre Ayton, You
mean the
I'm sorry, the Suns.
Yeah,
the Suns. Then when he got to the Pacers,
Miles Turner.
Miles Turner was already there. Obi Toppin emerged.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted Isaiah Jackson. He took off.
Yeah.
It's like you could say like, okay, Conrad, then that just means like he's not as good as other players. I don't even know if it's that, because even like when they called upon him during the playoffs, he gave him great minutes.
Yeah.
I think, again, what's his contract going to be? If he's like, for example, Royce O'Neal signed an extension with the Suns, 4 years, $44 million. To me, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
Right. So if a guy who's younger, like Jalen Smith, I mean, a different position, but what I'm just saying is, if he's making like less than 10 million AAV, why not?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
dude.
I mean, I would like, because we're gonna, like, if we didn't get Drummond per se, we go in a different direction about that. Wiseman's gone. Hell, who do we even have? Just Duran now and Stewart? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we probably need a Jalen Smith. You know what I mean? Like, we could probably use a Jalen Smith for sure. Like, he'd get minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because he's more of a
what's his name? Rookie.
Bobby Clinton?
Bobby Clinton. So we
but he's more of a, to me, he's more of a 4.
Right.
Like a 4, right?
But
Smith to me is more of like a 4-5.
Yeah.
More of a 5, really.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of group him with the
bigs.
Beef Stew and Duran. Yeah.
So I mean, I would with that being said, and with Clinton being a rookie, I would go get Jalen Smith then. That would actually that's probably the first target that I've actually pinned on this podcast. like for this episode.
I mean,
anyway, I would
like
go
you said,
after
he is young.
Yeah, and he's still young.
I I like the idea that but he just finished his rookie contract. So he's got like 4 years of legitimate NBA experience, right? Like he wasn't just a guy that just rode the pine. You know, a true young veteran, then that is, to me, like that's a guy who could potentially have a future with the team. I like that. I like that.
It's just the timeline. So we could probably give him a 2+1. Hopefully, the one is a team option. So because he potentially will get better. You know what I mean? He might end up in the starting unit, like alongside Duran. Who knows? Like it's just a matter of which version of him shows up game in and game out. And I would truly go for him. I would go for Jalen Smith. I'm gonna just throw that out there now.
Nice.
I want to kind of segue before you go for your last player.
Okay.
And I just want to ask you if so everybody's saying that Detroit has this, like, we have a position as far as like we got money. So we can help facilitate deals. We have pieces that we can help facilitate deals with. What do you expect will come of it? Do you think we will get the players along with assets that will help our situation? Or do you think we could just make a splash? And I know Paul George sounds far-fetched. We probably need to move heaven and earth to try to get a Paul George. Like, oh, you got to get a Ray Allen first before KG comes along. You know what I mean? So, and I don't think the Pistons are far from something like that. Like, we don't necessarily have everything in place. Do we have a Paul Pierce in place? You know what I mean? But what if we could move heaven and earth? Who is the heaven and earth move, if possible?
This summer?
This summer. Because I think that there's going to be a team that emerges from all of what's going on right now. And it would be nice if it was us. That would be amazing. I would go outside and scream joy.
I mean, it's okay. So, for example, I mean, relatively speaking, this free agency class, or whatever you want to call it, is not particularly great.
No.
There's a lot of like nice role player names out there several of which we just discussed, or whom we just discussed, right? But in terms of like, star power, or, players that can really change the fortunes or directions of your team, I'm not seeing it. You even referenced Paul George. Paul George is considered the top free agent, right? In this free agency class. He's 34, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's 34, wants a 4-year max contract.
It does not feel like he's 34.
I know. You say it like that, I guess all I'm trying to say is I don't think it's not this offseason that the Pistons can pull out off that move. I think they can set themselves up for next year, and we'll have to look more closely. However, I mean, there are salary dumps, and then there are cap casualties. Like, for example, Davis Bertans, when he was like cast away to first to Detroit. Or was it? No, not Detroit. To Dallas. Dallas, and then to Dallas, then to Charlotte.
Oh, you talking about last year?
That is a salary dump. This is a guy that's fucking unplayable. Nobody fucking wants this guy.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go. Then there are cap casualties, meaning like you didn't even do anything particularly wrong, but like because we're up against it because of the tax, or we need to make more room to bring in or to sign some other players, right? Yeah. I would put Tim Hardaway Jr. more in the cap casualty category.
Yeah, me
like
too.
You could tell me the holes in his game, and everyone's like, "Oh, see, look at the playoffs. He couldn't stay in front of Jaylen Brown." Like, bitch, man. Other than Derrick Jones Jr., like what other player on that fucking roster was staying in front of Jaylen Brown?
Nobody.
Like the idea that you have to peg it on him.
Yeah.
They want to fight, like, and I like Derrick Jones Jr. And I like other guys on that roster. They didn't hold their own. I really like Josh Green. We're gonna get into it. Yeah, I want Josh Green somehow on the Warriors. There's a path. All I'm saying is, what is this?
I just got Josh Green on my 2K fantasy league team.
There you go. No, I mean, Tim Hardaway Jr., the only thing, like, it's the $17 million. Let's make it clear that you don't like. And if you're saying fine for his one-dimensional, or one-dimensional or one-way skill set, you don't like. That's what we were talking about, right? Do you really want to pay Luke Kennard that much? See, Luke Kennard is seeking the same money that Tim Hardaway Jr. is getting right now.
Right.
And there you go. Do you really want to pay? So all I'm saying is, let's not act like Tim Hardaway Jr. is a scrub. Right? You could say you don't want to pay him that much money because he's not like versatile enough. But this idea, like, he is not Bertans, right?
Right.
Like and so going back to the Pistons, like, this to me is a very fortuitous cap casualty that you're capitalizing on, right? Like you just said, we're going through all of these free agents trying to figure out like what shooters would be willing to come and can like actually come, and make the team better. There you go. You gave up nothing for him.
Yeah.
You actually got stuff.
I wanted to keep Grimes.
Okay, to be fair, that is true. Which is why it's being looked at as kind of like, Dallas fleeced you guys.
Yeah. Because Grimes is young. He has yet to develop, and he shows flashes of this and that. And yeah, it's cool.
I mean, it's good now. And obviously, right, Dallas is in a win now mode. That's cool. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they're going to come up with the same thing, right? Like, are you going to be able to extend Grimes, assuming he's deserving of it? Obviously, you want him to play well. So if he plays that well, are you even going to be able to keep him? That's something down the road.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he doesn't match your timeline,
you flip
the Pistons, that is what it is. And that's the same thing. Hardaway Jr. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. At one point, remember, we were even talking about this. Hardaway Jr. was in discussions for Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, what?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, he's like the village idiot. Are you serious?
Yeah. And it didn't make sense.
Yeah. And then that's, I think, like a little fan overreaction. But what I'm saying is I think the Pistons can really capitalize on those knee-jerk reactions. Because I don't even think we're rehabbing his image. What? Because Derrick Jones Jr. got more minutes than him. All I'm saying is like
he wasn't the fit that they needed alongside what Luka and Kyrie were doing. The fact that Kyrie can provide the scoring punch that Tim Hardaway provided, but also create with the ball is why, you know what I mean? It became a situation where instead of Tim Hardaway being one of Luka's henchmen, so to speak, Kyrie became the secondary. And then so the hierarchy changed. And Tim Hardaway just got shoved out. You needed defense. You needed slashers. They went and got Gafford, and Lively just kept getting better. So what do? You know what I mean? So he got shoved down the bench, which is what happened. And then people got mad at him in the playoffs for getting finally plugged into the shit. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, Tim Hardaway, I was rooting for him too. I tweeted, oh, Tim Hardaway game, Tim Hardaway X Factor, Tim Hardaway, but I didn't turn on him. I didn't say, oh, well, shit, why did you get minutes? I didn't do that. I sunk with the ship.
That's why the perception right now.
Detroit. I was rooting for him, and then he comes to Detroit. Come on.
Well, no, we talked about it, right? We talked about it that in order for basically in order for Dallas to create to get enough under the first apron and enough under the tax to be able to access the full non-taxpayer mid-level exception, they needed to shed salary. That salary was inevitably going to be Tim Hardaway Jr., right? Yeah. But what I'm saying is this is not like, for example, you get right. Like the Hornets are already saying like Reggie Jackson may never even suit up, right? They may try to flip him again. If not, they're just going to waive him, right?
Yeah.
Like that to me is more of a salary dump.
Yeah.
Like,
and not a cap casualty.
I mean, I guess he's also a cap casualty.
Yeah.
But okay, fine. Let's just go back. Bertans is a true salary dump. He is a true salary dump, right? But Hardaway Jr., he has utility, and especially on this Detroit team,
right?
Assuming he suits
that
up
doesn't have a
on
Kyrie
opening
Irving.
Day. No, but he
has a Luka.
He doesn't handle the ball anyway,
right?
So I mean, like it would fit perfectly. It's not like he's looking to be like pounding the rock.
Yeah.
So I mean, play alongside Ivy and Cade. Like, it makes all the sense in the world to me. And again, let's say he puts some good numbers and you guys aren't in playoff contention. Well, then look at that. He's going to be like a great an expiring contract.
Yeah, at that number. Yeah.
You'll get something for him at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
You'll get more stuff. So, hey,
right.
It works out. It works out.
It's a win-win-win because either helps us start winning, he's a trade asset, or he just comes right off the books and boom, we got that money right back. You know what I mean? So, and because So okay, well let's go into this. Did you mention the player that you wanted to mention?
I mean it's very ho hum compared to all this. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a realistic target. I've seen his name associated with the Pistons. Mm-hmm. I've told you this before. I'm gonna say it again. Naji Marshall, man. Naji Marshall.
Yeah,
Naji Marshall.
I've tweeted everybody so strongly on that. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, everybody either really agrees with me or says I'm fucking stupid.
Yeah.
No. First of all, has a long time working with Fred Vinson. Right, coming from the Pelicans.
Right.
So there you go. Right, Naji Marshall. Add him to the list of guys. Right, Fred Vinson helped develop his 3-point shot.
Right,
but he showed the world a lot of good stuff in these playoffs. Right. What was it in turn? I wouldn't say he's not necessarily a defensive stopper, but he is very capable of defending at the point of attack. And he does it in such a way, right, where he has the tenacity to compete. He's not looking to switch. I like that he doesn't ask for a lot of help, and again, too far often you see players that are willing to just allow things to switch early because they don't want to fight over a screen. He does it, he has the ability to defend at the very least, at the very least 1 through 3. He can switch, or he can actually defend some fours, more perimeter oriented fours.
Yeah.
But again, on a team like the Pistons that already has some established, clearly that is their skill set, what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, established alpha, on ball, creators.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we're saying about the appeal, at least the early appeal of guys like Ausar and Ron Holland, right? Mm-hmm. You need then those guys who are really high IQ connective passers. Mm-hmm. That's what he does, and at times I've been on the record, right? You see CJ McCollum, his playmaking is not all that, his shot creation, his individual shot creation is fine. Right. Mm-hmm. But when you can kind of get him in a phone booth, he'll kind of get spastic. Right. Yeah. Naji Marshall is that great release valve, okay. And I like that, right? A play doesn't die when he's on the court, right? He's able to make good decisions, but good and quick decisions. So, I mean, two-way guy, high IQ, processes the game really fast. And he's what? Let me look it up real quick. He's still only 26, know? Again, the idea, and again, long time, right? His entire career he spent in New Orleans, so he's played with, or he's worked with Fred Vinson, for a number of years. Well, again, not the head coach, but still, right? There is a rapport there. I'm just saying, because people are oh, kind of it's a waste of money, blah blah blah. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there are a lot of teams that are going to be vying for his services.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I can't imagine all those teams overpaying and so eager to create a bad contract. Right. So it's I said, I'm just going to use Royce O'Neal as a benchmark. Royce O'Neal got 444, right? The mid-level exception is 13 per year. Yeah. Then I'm assuming Naji Marshall gets something in that range.
Right.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
To me, that's a solid deal. Right. Again, create assets, create value contracts. Now, I like the idea of Naji Marshall for the Pistons, not just to become some guy you flip at the deadline. But what I'm saying is his body of work suggests that essentially if he's coming in at a deal like that, that's going to be viewed league-wide as like a value contract, right?
We won't give him bad contract level contract, will we?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you were to overpay, how much is an overpayment? Like, I don't really see. I'm not sure like what his market is. I just can't imagine he's getting significantly more than the full mid-level exception, right?
Okay, that's not bad.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Especially
exactly.
not for us, that's not.
Even if you gave him,
that's
like right
value what we have.
Exactly, exactly, and that's what I'm saying, right? Like it's creating a good asset, creating,
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, that's my guy. That's to me realistic. Yeah. And I think those are the types of moves that Trajan Langdon is familiar with, right? Like when he and Sean Marks, when he was assistant GM to Sean Marks in Brooklyn, right? And they cleaned house, right? What did they do, right? They started either trading for guys like distressed, assets, like guys that were kind of like plucking guys from precarious situations, like on rookie deals, like basically trading for D'Lo, right? And then signing guys.
Shout out to Brooklyn D'Lo.
Yeah, see, who might be on the move again.
Right? He will be.
But and then signing guys, right? Like that's where GMs make their money, right? The moves that you make on the margins. Now, sometimes the margins mean, right, like your value signings, like veteran mins.
Yeah.
In this case, you have more flexibility to play with because you actually have substantial cap space. What I'm saying is like, Langdon has done this before, and I think Marshall represents that type of player. And again, Trajan Langdon came from New Orleans, right? So he was like, again, he knows. He knows. So that's what I'm saying. It makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. I'm not saying he should be the number one target, but it's those types of moves, right? Where guys like Cade, Ron Holland, Asar, Ivy, Duran, if you're saying like, no, Conrad, like I want someone with a higher ceiling, those are the guys with the higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We already
bring in the guys. Let's bring in the guys to help them get there. Right. I think Naji Marshall is the guy that could do that,
Okay. So that's the dude. That's the guy.
That's just my dude. That's just my dude.
All right. So Pistons fans, anybody, just NBA fans, whoever's watching, listening, whoever watches. Okay. Con is going with Naji Marshall. I'm going with Jalen Smith as our clear signees, and I'll just throw it to you, Con. I'll oop it to you. If there was one more piece that we can add, whether that's because somebody gets traded out, I mean, we got THJ in already. You chose Naji. I chose Jalen Smith. What's one more piece that's in this free agency that we can just say, okay, the Pistons did a decent job. Let's see what happens. That fits within that scope. Like we have Naji, we have Jalen Smith, we have THJ so far. One more piece. Because I know
at any position.
I mean, whatever fits. You got the scouting chops now. You know how to identify talent that would fit. But probably better than me. I'm just a 2K talent scout. I'm like, yeah. Even though I got Anunoby and Josh Green and Davion Smith all on the same damn team. Because I wanted to go defensive crazy with Giannis.
Okay, in terms of the guys, in terms of, again, right, working on the margins.
Yeah.
A distressed asset. Chuma, okay.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I used to love Chuma. The season before last when he was going crazy, I was, man.
Yeah. Now he's projected right now to be available. Again, I'm just going on these projections. He's projected to be available for the veteran minimum.
Okay. What did he? Let me look him up. Let me see what he did last. I'm right here on Basketball Reference too. What was his last season like? Because he was still in Orlando.
I mean, he's only been with Orlando.
Mo Wagner is available.
So yes, he is. Again, I think maybe that could be your pick. It's just no. I'm just saying, like it sounds like he is entering unrestricted free agency with the idea that they want to sign him to a new restructured deal. That's why, right?
Okay.
They can't simply just extend him. I mean, his numbers are horrible, man.
No, I'm not even worried about the numbers. I'm just
I'm just looking at like his raw averages for the season.
He only played 9.2 minutes a game.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a project. But would you say he's like a true 4?
No, not true, just true. I mean, he's not a 3, so I guess.
There you go.
I guess. Yeah.
No,
he's like a combo forward.
I know he's another project.
Yeah.
You know. But when he was at his best with Orlando, obviously coming into the league when he was drafted, well, there was the injury which allowed him to fall to Orlando in the first place. Yeah. But kind of like a stretch 4, who made so really stretch 4, pick and pop, and just a really nice, not a playmaker, but made good passes out of the short roll, right?
Yeah,
he could still do that.
You're right.
He could still do that.
So is he one of those high IQ guys? Is he high IQ like you've been saying that we need?
I still think he is, right? Obviously, he didn't play much, and I know, again, so this is more of a margin thing, but again, this is where I think you could benefit. Like, I don't think it hurts you, like if he's showing you good stuff to warrant playing time, like if JB Bickerstaff says, you know what, he's showing some good stuff in practice, then I'm going to trust him, right?
Yeah.
And then you're probably going to reap the rewards of having signed him to like the minimum, or, something just barely over the minimum.
Right.
Right. Obviously the injury, you need to consult team trainers, look at his medicals. That would really be my only concern. But in terms of what he does well, and the fact that the Pistons, you don't really have like 4s. Have you noticed that? Like you play either like in your front court, like another 5 or a 3.
Yeah.
Like an extra 3. So
that's
I mean,
why I
like
Jalen Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. If not, see, I think he's going to have a lot. If you want someone who's at least healthy,
what you doing? Going through the list still?
Yeah.
I need to continue. Let me look at what Mo did last year, because I know his brother's been flexing. You know what I mean, and so hell, he's free. You know what I mean, so. And I'd take Mo Wagner. We need a 4. We don't have a clear 4.
Yeah.
He averaged 10 and 5, or roughly 10 and 4. He played 80 games, 17 minutes a game. So he was available.
These are the guys, though, I think that are going to be targeted, like, in the second or third wave of free agency.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's like too much of a risk, because you're a little reluctant based on his injury history. Okay, that is.
Yeah.
Then I'll say Gogo Bitadze
to round out the roster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, another big, but again, a big that completely presents a completely different skill set that any of your current bigs has. Right. Yeah. The throwback offensive hub. Right. Can make plays out of the low post or the high post, right? A great reset valve guy. I mean, he fits perfectly. Again, right? Not great on defense. Fine. That's why you have a bunch of wing defenders, right? So,
okay. So I got a question before we close. It's a light question, so we probably need to close on something different. What is Fontecchio to you? A 4, right? Or is he this combo forward thing we've been coming up with? He's a 3.
He's a combo forward
with 4 height.
He's a 3. Yeah. I mean, like he's more of a 3 for me. For me, he's more of a 3. I can maybe convince myself that like he's a No, yeah, he's a 3. At best, a combo forward. Because yes, I do agree, right? Like he can't comfortably post up any guys, definitely other 4s, right? But I do like the way he can get deep position and then through a series of kind of like ISOs or pivots, right? He'll kind of size up to then get a shot off, but he's not really, gonna really like work a guy down in the post or anything like that. So that's why I'm reluctant to say he's like a 4, but
Right. Okay. Well, I'll close with this. I asked the questions on the Pistons account that I run at Pistons League for anybody on Twitter. Where do you see Bickerstaff having this team in the standings next year?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
What's the range? What's the range? Under 20? What I put? Under 20, over 20, under 30, or was it all overs after that? Yeah, it was under 20, over 20, over 30, over 40. What's your pick? I don't know what your vote was. If you voted, I'm sure you probably did.
I did. What was it, like 20 to 30? Right?
Yeah.
Was that one of the options?
Under 20, over 20, over 30, over 40.
Oh. I'm saying,
let's say that whole team that we just put together came together as well. We go indoor Mo Wagner. I guess that'll be my final pick to round out the roster. That whole roster's rounded out. JB Bickerstaff in place. Let's go.
Over 20, under 30.
Okay.
Yeah. If you found a way to get like, who did we say earlier in the show? Like a KCP.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe 30 wins, like low 30s.
Okay.
Damn.
So we're not ready to make the leap.
I mean, it depends. It depends because there's still a learning curve for all of them to play together, right? Okay. Where also there's still the learning curve of your incumbent young guys still kind of getting right. So we'll see. I don't know. I feel like you could be the high end would be like mid 30s to me. I could see them being like 35 plus. Yeah. And then that's good enough to get you in the play-in picture.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Basketball guys.
So, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. It could turn very quickly. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the live stream. Free agency in what? Less than 3 hours almost. Well,
3 hours, 15 minutes.
Just above 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
So get ready. We will somewhat be on deck. I gotta make a few runs and just home stuff and family stuff real quick, and hopefully I'm available after free agency opens up. But yeah, you can follow us at our Twitter names at the bottom if you see them, at CP377 or _777, at opinionated _MJ, at EMW _pod, all these underscores.
I know.
And yeah, enjoy, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe. If anything you do, you listen to this for 2 seconds, hit the subscribe button or and hit a like. Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you, please. And we out.
All right. Enjoy the free agency frenzy.